Hi everyone, welcome to another video on this YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll take a look at Adobe Photoshop Beta and specifically the generative AI features. So what I've done is I've just found a few landscape photographs on Unsplash, and in this video, we'll just take a look at editing some of these photographs in Adobe Photoshop. So to start off with is this green grass field under the blue sky photographed by John. And what we'll do is we'll open up Photoshop and choose that particular file and we'll see what we can do with this. So to begin with, what we'll try and do is we shall add a house or a castle or some sort of place in on one side of this photograph. So let's try with a house first and see what that generates. So again, I'm using the lasso tool and I am going to just design this house, I suppose, and let's just see what happens. So that's one of the things, is if you want a particular object, you probably have to select that area with your lasso tool that sort of matches the object that you want in the first place. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Generative Fill button and just type in a house and click on the Generate button and see what it generates. Alright, so it has completed generation, and as you can see, it has generated a house which sort of matches the shape that I was highlighting, or maybe not. Anyway, 3 variations. This is the first, second, and third. Personally, I like the third one better, so let's just keep it with the third one and see what else we can do with the image. So again, what it brilliantly does is not just adds the object but also maintains the same lighting, same environment, same textures and tones of the original image. So now that we've added a house, let's see if we can generate something more. What we can do is we can select this area and say tractor. Click on generate. Alright, so it has generated a tractor. This is variation number 1. You have 2 and 3. Again, all of it is quite similar, but I think number 1 is still convincingly enough, good enough. So we'll keep that aside, and then we shall select this area and try and generate a horse. Alright, so it has sort of generated a horse. We'll see what the other variations look like. This variation probably looks better than the others, but let's zoom in and see what actually it looks like. Alright, so maybe not what we'd expect. In this case, it's just the body is completely missing, but that's fine. And the first one also looks like the horse is wearing something, but let's go back, keep the horse where it was, and try and pick some more parts of the of this image. Let us select this area and add some fence. Alright, so it looks like it has added some fence in the distance. Now what we'll do is we shall continue the process, and instead we'll select this area and we'll type in chimney with smoke. So it has generated 3 variations for this one. Let's take a look at which one we might want. Again, it looks really like a factory sort of chimney, not really the one that I'd expect on a house, but that's fine. We can always fix that later. For now, what we'll do is we'll use this space and just generate some trees, multiple trees. Let's see if this understands the prompt. Alright, I'd expect more trees, but in this case, there's just one here and this tiny one over here. Let's see what the other variations look like. This looks much better. And this one looks even much better. So I think let's keep this one because this is more trees as I'd expect. All right, so let's fill up the sky with some clouds. And so let's just select this whole area and type in clouds and click on generate. All right, so it has managed to generate some clouds. If we'll take a look at the variants, there's 3 different variants. Now, mind you, we did just draw one whole big lasso and select the whole area, and that's why it's probably created this one giant cloud instead of actually splitting the whole area into multiple clouds. So that is what I'd expect, but that's totally fine. So as you can see, this is the final image that we ended up with after all the generative AI fills, and this is what it originally was. So there's quite a bit of a difference, and this was completely done using the generative AI feature in Photoshop. Now, as you can see, there's all of these edits come with all these generative layers here on the right, on the bottom right, and you can always hide whatever layer you don't like, and then that just removes it from the image without destructing the image. So all of the edits that are done by the generative AI feature are very non-destructive in nature. And then of course we can save this file, and it'll just save it as a Photoshop file. We can continue and save it. There's no problem. And I think it would also prompt about compatibility between 2 different features, which is normal. It just is just the compatibility of the file it's saving, but saving it as Photoshop file will retain all the layers. And then you can also export it using PNG, or you can export it to any other picture type as well, which will merge all of the layers into a single image, a single PNG or JPEG file, and you can use that for any purpose. So that was one image. Now let's take a look at another image. All right, so now let's continue the generative fill adventures with another image that we can select from the downloaded images. We will try with this one over here. So that is another one from Unsplash.com, and it's collected by Damien, and this is the original image. So what do we have here is one tree in the background and some sand. And so what we'll do is we'll see if we can add a reflection. So we'll add some water content into the image and see if the reflection can match. I've seen some videos of this being done, but I've never tried it myself. So this is probably the first time that I'm going to try it. So let's see if we can make it work. What I shall do is I'll select this whole area that I think the water content should go into, and then I will say water. Maybe I'll just keep it at water and generate it and see what happens. All right. Wow, I am mind blown, because after some generation, it has actually generated the water content, and this is the first time I'm actually trying this particular generative idea or generative prompt. And as you can see, it has generated the water, but it has also maintained the reflection of the image and of the objects in the image. So this is actually absolutely stunning, and it obviously changes the image completely. But let's see what the variations are. So there's 3 variations. This is number 1, this is number 2, which actually looks pretty good, and this is number 3. Oof, tough selection. Let's stick with number 3 and see what we can build on top of that. So up next, what we'll do is we'll just zoom in, and then we shall select this whole area and then add a giraffe and generate it. All right, so there we have a giraffe in the picture. This is variation number 1, this is 2, and this is 3. All right, so it did manage to generate a giraffe, and definitely looks like a giraffe. But as you can see in variation number 2, it is the legs, something happening in the legs, which looks a bit weird. Number 1 still looks accurate. Probably less so, but at least you can recognize that it is a giraffe. So I think that is good for now. Let's stick with this and see what we can do. So let's try another image this time, and maybe let's try this galaxy nighttime Milky Way image and see what we can do with this one. So that is by Casey Horner from Unsplash. So back to Photoshop. Let's open up the image and load this one up. Now this one, I have no idea what we'll edit at the moment, but this whole silhouette of trees makes me think that we can click these ones pretty easily with our magic selection over here. So quick object selection, click on the trees, and it should automatically select all of them pretty easily. All right, so there you go. It has actually automatically selected that pretty easily. And what we'll do is, at this stage, we'll just click on Generative Fill and see what happens. I do not know what it will do, but let's click it. Let's click a Generate feature without any prompts and see what Photoshop actually does. For the first variation, Photoshop actually removed all the trees entirely. Did a fairly good job, but the bottom part of the image doesn't actually match. It's not really the same thing. If we look at the variations, that kind of looks like a mountain. I think that's what it's going for. And the third variation is actually completely different. But funnily enough, this actually still makes a lot more sense, except the fact that there's a lot of sunset thing happening over here. So let's just hide this generative AI one. Let's start with the original image and click the background this time, and then click on Generative Fill, and let's generate it after clicking the background. Oh wow, okay. So this has completely removed the galaxy, the Milky Way, and it has replaced it with just a normal day sky. And we'll also take a look at some of the variations. Variation number 2 and variation number 3 is what? Variation number 3 is completely different. It's like a city. I think variation number 2 still makes a lot of sense, and it would make a lot of sense to keep this and then work on top of that, because you still have the silhouette of the trees and then just a normal day of sky. So it's more like a sunset variation. But for now, actually, let's also hide this and try something again completely different. We'll go with crop this time, and I think what I want to do is I want to decrease this size of the silhouette, hit enter, and keep this as it is. And then I want to use the lasso tool and select this whole area, and then leave some of that as well. And I think you may know what I'm trying to do here. I am trying to create some mountains and generate that. That will replace the trees and also replace some areas of the sky, some areas of the Milky Way sky. All right, so it has done its job, and the first variation looks very promising. There's a silhouette of the mountains now, keeping the Milky Way as is. So that is good. Variation number 2 is again very promising. Snow-clad mountains, and again it has kept the Milky Way. And variation number 3 also looks pretty promising. So that is good. So we have definitely things to work on. Photo number 2 is a little bit challenging. So let's see if we can just fix this this part of the image, because I don't know what is going on over here. So let's see if we can just select this and click on Generative Fill, generate. Maybe we did not like that. Right, let's try again. Oh wow, okay. So it has made the image slightly better. It has covered those parts with the mountain, and it has also fixed the Milky Way a bit. And so now finally we'll just fix this part and see if it can just do this last final bit before we move on to another image. Okay, so it has covered the final bits as well. The Milky Way over here looks slightly skewed, but from a distance you wouldn't really know. But hey, that is your new image now, and this is what the original image was. In this case, I'd say the original image was obviously a lot more better. The mountains really didn't do the trick. But then, of course, at this point, we could have just used one of these mountains instead of this. So if I just hide these layers, yeah, we could have just used this mountain instead and worked from there, and maybe the final output would have been a lot more better. So there you go. You have a um, few directional changes that you could do while editing a generative fill image. All right. So for the final photograph over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beach seashore photograph by Sean from Unsplash, and we'll try and figure out what to do with this using Adobe Photoshop generative AI. So you click on that one, and this is what our image looks like. What we'll do is we will try and add a boat in the distance. So we'll add a boat. Well, there you go. We have a boat in the sea at the moment. This is variation number 1, 2, and 3. I think variation number 2 looks a lot more better. May not actually fit in that depth of the water, but let me know in the comments down below. So we have a boat over here, and now let's just see what we can do with the sky. Because the last time that I tried clouds, it didn't quite work. So let's just select this part of the clouds and generate it without any prompt and see if it actually changes what this part looks like. So for variation number 1, it has removed the clouds completely. 2, and then 3. So again, almost the same. I think we'll just stick with 2. Over here on the beach, we shall add some footprints. All right, so this is variation number 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, none of those variations actually look very promising. The footprints look completely off. So let's just hide this layer so we don't have to deal with that. Instead, what we'll do is we'll just add a starfish. Now, over here on the send. All right, so that's 1 starfish, 2, and 3. Not very enticing, but that's fine. We'll just keep the third one maybe. Looks a bit off, but let's see. All right, let us select this area and type in an island with trees. Oops. All right, so we have 1 island with some trees over here. This one, I don't know what this is. These are just more boats. Well, these are more boats as well, so not really what we wanted. So we shall delete that and try and generate 1 more again. For some reason, it's just keeping on generating boats, which we don't want, obviously. We want this island with some trees, which is what we'll go for. And then we'll take this part off and see without a prompt what it manages to re-render. So re-rendered into a smaller island and variations of that, or it just completely removed it. So this is also pretty handy if you just want the left side to be just completely clean and right side has the boat and the island. So it kind of redoes the whole image quite a bit. So let's stick with this and see what we can do. And then for the final layer, what we'll do is we'll just select the entire sky and then we'll just do a night sky and see if it manages to generate anything useful for us. All right, so it has generated night sky. Let's see what the other variations look like. Wow, okay. None of the variations are what we probably want, and it has completely changed the whole image. So let's just delete that instead of hiding it. Just delete it completely. And now for the final trial, what we'll do is we'll select the lasso tool, select this area in the ocean, and just type in dolphins and generate. Oh wow, okay, it did manage to generate a dolphin in different shapes. So let me zoom in to see what this actually is. There you go. So that's number 1, 3, 2, what? I think all of the three look unreal, but I think the third one looks the better of the three variations. I mean, obviously, we can, still just select this whole part, and click on the generate again and see what it does. Maybe it might just fix the image for us, but let's try it out. Okay, it has decided to remove it. Maybe not. Maybe not what we want. So let's delete that part and keep the dolphin. Keep the dolphin. So that is the final image after editing it using Adobe Photoshop Generative AI. And this is what the original image was that was clicked and produced in Unsplash. So again, quite a difference. So yeah, hopefully you like this video. There was really no objective about this video in particular. It was just around trying different images and trying them all using the generative fill features of Adobe Photoshop, and using the different combinations and just learning what the capabilities are. And hopefully you found this video useful because it covered a lot of different scenarios, um, and not just a specific scenario, and just what the input and outcome was. So it is more of an exploratory video to see what we can do. Some of it, as you might recall, didn't work as expected, and we have discarded those changes, and some did. And so these are the four variations that I've come up with in this video. But of course, if you do give it a try, do let me know what you think about this feature, this application, and if there was anything useful that you found, please share your tips and tricks in the comments down below. So that was all about this video. Thanks for watching and thanks for sticking around till the end. I know this was quite a large exploratory video. Thanks for sticking around, and do like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and of course share the video if you like. But yeah, do like and show some engagement for this channel. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you in another video some other time. See ya. Bye.